Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for joining us. I'm Darcy Quakenbush, the chair of the Board of Directors on the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber has been working closely with INDOT, the HNTB Corporation, and the city to help get the word out about all the changes coming with the construction of I-69, especially the closure of State Road 37 through Martinsville slated for next year. Follow I-69 Finish Line on Facebook and subscribe to email or text updates at i69finishline.com. Any questions you have today, submit them in the comments. And if we don't get to all of them today, we will reach out to you with the answers. I want to welcome Tim Miller, Senior Project Manager with HNTB Corporation, and Sarah Rubin with INDOT, the Project Manager of Section 6. Take it away, Sarah.
Okay, great. Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to join us, and we certainly appreciate the opportunity to provide an update not only about the project, but to talk a little bit more about the efforts that we've had underway preparing for future I-69 as it once it's complete, but also preparing for next year's closure, just to make sure that everyone knows where they can find information, how they can get around during the closure. So we'll go through kind of a variety of highlights about the project and the upcoming closure, and certainly save time at the end for any questions that folks might have. So just to kind of start out, as I mentioned, we have 3 contracts that are underway. We'll go through kind of the limits of those a little bit later, but we'll provide an update on kind of where we are with those activities. We'll provide an overview of the upcoming closure, some of the ways in which we'll get the messaging out, some details about the specific route, and then how we can plan to continue outreach as we move into, into the closure being in effect itself. So just from a contract overview perspective, the corridor is divided into 5 contracts. I have a graphic a little bit later that kind of shows the full limits of it, but for yes, the elements that are most relevant for the folks that are listening in on this call today, those would be contracts 1 through 3. So contract 1, that construction is complete. That was the work with Grand Valley Boulevard overpass and the improvements to Kramertown Loop and Artesian. Contract 2, which started this season, and we anticipate 2 more construction seasons to fully complete all the work. But that contract will include 6 miles of construction through Martinsville. It has included the improvements that have been on State Road 39 this year, and some of the other additional improvements in the Martinsville area ahead of the closure. That will also include not only the main line of I-69, but also the 3 interchanges that will be through the city of Martinsville. And then for contract 3, which is north of Martinsville, but primarily in Morgan County. So this year we've constructed 4 new bridges and made several intersection improvements and built out several of the local access roads. So as some of our later contracts come online, we will already have improved that east-west connectivity so that folks will be able to get around because we will have lane restrictions in the limits of those later contracts. So that's kind of a highlight of the contracts that have been underway last year and this year, certainly moving the ball forward with respect to I-69, but also preparing us for the upcoming closure that we anticipate in 2021. So, and I've already kind of covered these a little bit, but contract 1 is complete. We're in the process of closing that one out. Contract 2, we expect their work to be complete in 2022. Contract 3 was this year. It will lead into 2021 a little bit, but we expect completion in 2021. The 2 other contracts that we have in the more northern part of the corridor, contract 4 will be letting in just a couple of weeks this November. But we expect all the work to be complete by 2024. And then contract 5, which is the northern end of the corridor from essentially Fairview Road north, that was procured as a design build best value. We're going through the commercial close process with that right now. So we expect that contractor to get their notice to proceed in mid-November. So this just kind of graphically depicts what I was trying to convey as far as our corridor construction contracts. You can see contract 1 is the orange there, which were the local roads and Grand Valley Boulevard in Martinsville. Contract 2 is the green, so that shows the improvements on Sierra 39, the improvements through the city of Martinsville up to about Morgan Street, so it includes mainline I-69 and the 3 interchanges that are part of that portion of the corridor. Contract 3 is the yellow, so those were the overpasses and local access roads that I mentioned. And then contract 4, which is the one that lets in just a couple weeks here in November, that includes mainline improvements from Morgan Street all the way up to about Fairview Road. That contract also includes 3 interchanges, so it includes Smith Valley Road, State Road 144, and then Henderson Ford Road. So I think some of you might be thinking, well, there's already a bridge out at Henderson Ford Road. We built the bridge as part of contract 3. We'll build the ramps as part of contract 4. So we will expect to have a fully functioning interchange once we get contract 4 underway and get our work sequenced appropriately there. And then contract 5 is the blue at the northern end of the corridor. So essentially from Fairview Road north up to 465. And then we have improvements on 465 from about Kentucky Avenue, I-70 area over to just east of Madison. So that kind of gives you an idea of the breadth of where we'll be working and the calendar years across which we'll be working both in Martinsville, in Morgan County, and then throughout the rest of the corridor. So the next few slides, we're going to provide an overview about the upcoming closure for Sierra 37. So we anticipate Sierra 37 will be closed in Martinsville for most of 2021. That includes essentially a 5-mile section that extends from Sierra 39 to Morgan Street, north of town. So you've probably seen our construction crews out working on the Indian Creek Bridge. That's currently the southbound Sierra 37. So once that bridge is finished and we have all the new pavement, then folks will, both northbound and southbound traffic will move over onto that side of current 37, and that's how they will be funneled off of 37 and over onto Sierra 39. The crews will be building future I-69 lanes during the closure, so the focus is really making sure that we could get that construction done in the safest and quickest manner possible. Safety not only for our workers, but also for the public were 2 of our kind of key focal points when we raised the concept of the closure with the prior administration, and it's something that both benefits the community and benefits INDOT and our contracting team. So in preparation for the closure, and we have several maps that we've developed not only for this presentation, but they're going to be made available throughout the community. I believe Jamie will have some on hand. There are other community organizations that will as well. I believe the mayor's office. So I guess at the end, if we have some additional details of actual handouts and things, but make sure that if it's something you want to be able to share with your customers, be sure to let Jamie or our project team know, and we can certainly help with that. But from a kind of preparation perspective, INDOT has done quite a bit of work last year and this year to get ready, not only for future condition of I-69, but ahead of this closure. And so you can see from this map, if you're able to see the legend, it kind of denotes areas that we've done additional widening or potential patching. We've added some new bridges, certainly the Indian Creek bridges. Those are part of I-69 itself, but we were able to accelerate the replacement of some bridges up on Sierra 67 south of 144 so that those are in place ahead of the closure. We built out new access roads. Those are the ones in gray throughout Morgan County to help improve that connectivity. And then we have a couple of locations where we have added new temporary signals at both Henderson Ford Road. That one is, we'll see that one deployed later this fall. And then up at Banta Road in northern Morgan County, just to help with the movement of traffic as people adjust to the changes in access roads as we move further into construction. So additionally, portions of Sierra 39 have been widened as part of our preparation to be able to account or accommodate for that higher volume of traffic. The widening has predominantly been up to about the area where the railroad crossing is. So that's work that we've had underway this season, and we expect to have all that work wrapped up before we get to the point of closing State Road 37. The additional new bridges that we've opened over State Road 37 or anticipate to open this fall. Obviously, Grand Valley Boulevard is open, but we'll have overpasses at Egbert, Henderson, Ford Road, Perry Road, Waverly, in an effort to help move that traffic throughout the corridor. And then, as we already touched on a couple of times, those new local access roads that help provide the connectivity between those overpasses and ultimately the future interchanges throughout the corridor. Additional items include some shoulder strengthening that we've done between Morgan Street and State Road 144, and we still have underway. Those are items that were originally part of Contract 4, actually, and we've moved them forward into Contract 3 just to help us get more of a jump start on the Contract 4 work after the first of the year. It'll help us with some of our maintenance of traffic needs that we'll have north of Morgan Street. We've also done some patching and resurfacing both on 39, 067, and 144. So that the map that I showed previously kind of denotes the limits of where we did those activities. Certainly ahead of the closure, we wanted to make sure the pavement was in fairly good condition before we put that additional traffic on there. And then a couple of other improvements on State Road 67. We've already talked about the two bridges that were accelerated that are just south of 144. We also added a turn lane at Crosby Road as an area where there tends to be a fair amount of traffic, and it was a safer condition to be able to move them into a turn lane as opposed to them, slowing down in that left lane of traffic. And certainly as we increase the volume of traffic with our detour, we want to make sure that we have the safest conditions possible out there. And then if you've traveled on State Road 144 eastbound, you'll notice eastbound to northbound, we've adjusted the signals there and added a left turn lane. So that is helping meter the traffic that's moving through there now. And that will continue throughout the closure to kind of help move the traffic to minimize any sort of backups or delays in that area. Additionally, as part of Contract 1, so we extended Grand Valley Boulevard out to Kramertown Loop, so that improved the connectivity. Certainly as we took away the light at Grand Valley Boulevard and State Road 37, but also since the future interchange, the 252 and State Road 44 combined interchange, that would give folks kind of that connected access to be able to get from 252 down to the businesses and kind of vice versa. Also, as part of Contract 1 is the new Artesian Avenue that connects the Mahalesville, Ohio Street area up to the Grand Valley Boulevard shopping area. So that's something not only for, I think, the future development plans for both the city and the county, that was important connectivity, but also when we had the closure in effect, making sure that the amount of east-west connectivity available to folks in Martinsville to be able to get between home, business, school, that was something that was important to go ahead and get that local road network improved ahead of the closure, just for kind of overall better mobility. Additionally, the Kramertown Loop resurfacing from Artesian to State Road 252. So as we built out the connection from Grand Valley Boulevard to Kramertown Loop, it was kind of important while we were already there to go ahead and build out those additional improvements. A little bit later down the road in Contract 2, after the closure, we will have the signal that's at Kramertown Loop and 252. There will eventually be a roundabout there, so that will be able to even better accommodate any sort of traffic that moves through the area, whether they're coming off of I-69 and trying to get to the shopping, or if it's local or regional traffic trying to get between the businesses and wherever their destination to the east might be. You can see from the picture on the screen, we also rehabilitated the State Road 39 railroad crossing. It was in need of a bit of repair, so we were able to move that forward and do that in conjunction with our work this year, which I know for those that drive that area, you're probably a little bit relieved to not have such a bumpy ride over the railroads there. And then also in the coming weeks, we'll be doing some restriping downtown. The city of Martinsville is currently out there with their sanitary sewer and water improvements on Morgan Street. And then we will come in behind them and do some of the restriping on both Morgan and Jefferson ahead of the closure, just to kind of help better accommodate, obviously, the traffic needs for the city, but also the spacing that we're going to need in anticipation of some of the local volumes that will, ultimately be using Morgan Street as opposed to being able to come all the way down State Road 37 to get into Martinsville itself. We touched on before a little bit about the signals throughout the corridor. I touched on Henderson Ford Road and Banter Road, since those are on mainline State Road 37 itself. But there are 2 additional signals that we have added on State Road 144 itself. So there's one at Mann and Centenary, and then there's additional one at Waverly Park Road. Downstream, as part of contract 4, the signal at Waverly Park Road will actually, that area, it will be converted to a roundabout because it will ultimately be part of how folks get on and off of the interstate, where the businesses are there. If you're on Hug and Hollow currently and you try to turn left to get back to State Road 37, sometimes the traffic volumes prevent that. So folks would be essentially heading to the west, going through the roundabout, and then it safely turning them around to get them back to State Road 37. So like I said, some of these are intended to help with metering of traffic during construction, and then some of these are, especially at that location at Waverly Park Road, temp signal that eventually will become a roundabout. We've also coordinated with the city to make some signal timing improvements for some of the signals throughout Martinsville to help handle the traffic that will be on State Road 39. So that's some additional preemptive activity we have undertaken. Also, with respect to the city of Martinsville and Morgan County first responders, we have equipped them with signal preemption equipment. So in the event that there is an emergency that they need to be, every moment counts in those situations, they have the ability to control those signals and override so that they can get through in an efficient manner. So that's something else that was important to us, but also important to both the county and the city for how they're going to be able to respond to incidents while we're under construction. Here are just a couple of additional photos or eye candy, so to speak, on what's underway throughout the corridor. You can see some of our grading activities, some of our bridge deck pouring activities. If you like these and are curious about, additional, comparable photos but different parts of the corridor, because either A, you're curious, or B, you're interested in something that's going on, maybe near your business or where you live, our website, which will include details at the end, has a great selection of photos as construction's underway, as we kind of remold the view shed of what currently is State Road 37 as we upgrade it to I-69. And then as far as the official detour itself, so State Road 39 to State Road 67 to State Road 144. So what's on the screen denoted in green is what the official detour will be. Obviously, there will be access throughout the corridor for folks to be able to get on and off State Road 37 north of Martinsville. But as you can see where it's noted in red on the map on the screen, State Road 37 will be closed from State Road 39 to Morgan Street. So if for some reason, perhaps someone maybe lives in Morgan County and can't go up to 144 to 67 down, there will be access to be able to get down into Martinsville via Morgan Street. However, since contract 4 goes down to Morgan Street, there will be lane restrictions in place. So we anticipate to have probably at different intervals down to a single lane in each direction. So it's something that you definitely need to keep an eye on the social channels to understand when the restrictions might be in place, and make sure that folks, give a little bit of extra lead time for planning if you're trying to get to a destination within Martinsville. Okay, as far as local access, I've kind of tried to weave that throughout this discussion thus far. This is a great map that our comms team put together to help folks, once you get into Martinsville proper, figure out what's open, how do you get from one side of State Road 37 to the other. And so they've come up with kind of a creative way to color code this. Obviously, we have the closure and the detour, but the blue arrows or the blue lines denote open to traffic, and the yellow ones denote open to traffic most of 2021. So some of these connections, you know, either will go away permanently in case of Burton Lane, that will go away, or they may go away for part of the year. So as we do some of the construction at Rubin Drive, that's an example. So, but this should hopefully give folks an idea for ways in which they'll be able to cross State Road 37, either, like I said, get to school, get to work, if you need to work with your suppliers to identify routes for delivery of materials and whatnot. This should hopefully help with that discussion. All right, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tim, and he's going to talk about some of the additional details related to how we're going to message the closure and helpful information on how you can help message the closure.
Well, thank you. And that's, as you can tell, there's been a lot of planning and coordinating and design and getting to where we're at today in preparation for the closure. So what I'm going to talk a little bit about is how are we going to message this? How are we going to make sure that your customers and you as business owners understand what we're doing and when? So one of the very first things we're going to do is many of you have seen the logo that we have used for the last year and a half, and we're sort of branding this closure for Martinsville and the businesses for Morgan County. So you will start seeing on this for any closure related information, and really the tagline is working faster and safer, because at the end of the day, that's what we want to make sure we are conveying as you as business owners and as your customers. We're doing this closure because it's a much safer way to do it, and it's a much faster way to do it as well. So some of the key points about this closure that sort of is in alignment with that branding is from a safety standpoint, not only from the motorists, but from the construction workers along the corridor. Our construction time savings, we're gonna save an entire construction year on being able to do this. With this closure, it's going to allow us to get this contract done 1 year earlier. It's also in preparation for this closure, as Sarah mentioned, the number of improvements that were made in preparation of the closure. We're going to be able to see and witness those benefits for years after the closure itself. So whenever you prepare for something and you're building and you're investing in the infrastructure in order for preparation, we're going to have those lingering improvements are still going to be a benefit to Martinsville and to Morgan County for years to come. And finally, I just want to close out as far as one of the key points on this is going to be a collaborative effort between INDOT, the chamber, and you as business owners, and the utilities, and the school systems and school corporations. As you're going to see, we've had a lot of coordination with the city, with Jamie and her team, and that will continue all the way through the corridor. So some of the outreach we've been doing, not only in preparation of the closure, but even during the closure, we'll continue to have close coordination with the city. Obviously, we're going to be working alongside Jamie on multiple ways to communicate to make sure that her members and that are be able to communicate to basically where we're at in the process of the closure, so that you can update your customers. We're going to be working with Visit Morgan County. We're already working with Tasha on that. A strong media outreach, social media, the project website. So there's going to be several methods of ways that we're going to utilize the outreach to make sure that everybody has a firm understanding of where we're at. One of the first things you're going to see, and you're going to see this next week, is those of you that do monitor our webpage, we're going to have a specific landing page with closure information. So that will be everything from maps to the local connectivity that Sarah just mentioned, to graphics, to updated information about when and the progress is going to be made. So any videos as we progress, and I'm sure some of you have been watching our videos, that we'll continue to do that through the winter and the spring months, just so we can show people and you can show your customers the progress that we are making because of this closure. So it will have its own, like I said, it will have its own landing page. It will be the I-69 finishline.com/closure, and that will be up and running by a week from today. Some of the additional outreach that we're going to be doing, and again, this is all going to be in collaboration with Jamie and her members. We're going to make some information cards. So what you see on the left is going to be 5x7 cards that we'll be able to distribute to the businesses so that you can pass those out to your customers. And really what that is, it's going to be able to if somebody wants information, they're going to be able to take those. If you want to put them on counters or whatnot, they can take them home. At least it'll be an information card. To your right, you're going to see it's a business card. Again, a lot of the same information. What we want to make sure is we bring this awareness out for people to understand when is the closure going to be beginning, and then once it occurs, what's the progress that's taking place throughout there. So we'll get those business cards to Jamie so she can distribute those to her members as well. And so we think this is going to be a pretty popular program, an outreach program that we have. So that's some of the things. As far as our customer service team is still going to be very active on this project as far as making sure that we respond. You know, we receive 30 to 50 inquiries every month, and we try to respond and get somebody an answer within 2 days. Most of the time, it's within 24 hours, we resolve that inquiry that's come in, and so that is something that we are very focused on. We'll continue to do our weekly updates, both via our website and our social media channels. Over here to the left, this is one of the ones that Jamie and Sarah and I participated in just a couple of weeks ago, the celebration of Ruth Roosie's 102nd birthday. Hopefully you all got to see the on-track video of that. It was a great testament to her and her accomplishments in the Martinsville area. But we'll continue to do the updates on the closure on the social media channels on that as well. The other thing that we didn't put on here, but I would like to make sure that people realize we're doing. So this is all the social media part and website, and we recognize that not everybody is on social media or website just because of a variety of reasons. We will be working with the Martinsville Reporter and the Mooresville Times. We're actually going to do an insert, one or two inserts in December and one in January, again, with a lot of the same information. So somebody may be taking a newspaper and they don't like social media or they don't get on it for a variety of reasons. We're going to give them the opportunity to get the same information. We are also, for those of you that know the digital billboard at State Road 67 and State Road 144, they're in the northwest quadrant. We will have that. We have reserved that billboard for some information on the closure in December, January, and February. So that's a 90-day period where we can communicate information on a very real-time basis. So a lot of this, what we're talking about is with the maps and so forth, but we're going to use that digital billboard again just to make sure people have real-time data. And when that closure actually happens, we can put that up there within a 24 hours notice. So these are the ways that many of you are already staying in touch with us. The INDOT for You, the websites, Twitter, Instagram, and all that. But we encourage you to continue to do that. But again, we're going to be making sure that Jamie and the Martinsville Chamber and the Mooresville Chamber and Visit Morgan County has the same information at all times. So, we will make sure that all the information, it's a collaborative effort to make sure that everybody has that information. So at this point in time, I think, Jamie, you can sort of, we wanted to do about 30 minutes and it looks like it's about noon. So I think we're right on track. And so however you wanted to moderate the questions, we'd be happy to do that. Are you there?
Tim, I have texted you the question, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we have a comment at the temporary stoplight. Even better signage for the stop signs might help, like warning signs that the stops are coming. That's a great comment. And in preparation, I don't know if it's in the slideshow. We have done some advanced warning, and we have one at State Road 144. I think Sarah mentioned that at 144 and The intersection escapes me. Yes. So that is a good comment. We're taking that down, and we'll pass that along to the contractor to see if we can get some of the bands. Whatnot. Okay, another question that everybody can see is I'm still confused on why they are making 39 4 lanes and keeping the railroad crossing down to 2 lanes. Okay. Do you want to address that?
Sure, I'll take that.
Okay.
So there are additional permitting and other issues associated with the portion essentially between the railroad tracks and the river. And ultimately the timeline on which we needed to be able to contract for these improvements and make these improvements just didn't allow for us to be able to design and get that work complete. So that's essentially why the improvements go to the railroad tracks and then go down to the current condition beyond those. Are there additional questions? There's a question about, is your estimate for traffic delays on State Road 39 bypass still 7 minutes, or has that changed? I'll have to go back and double check on where that estimate came from. I mean, if that's what we've provided previously, there's nothing that indicates that it would be any different from that, but I will go back and confirm with our construction and design teams and make sure that that information gets relayed back to Jamie. All right. Next question, what happened to the welcome to Martinsville sign? My dad did the sign, just curious if it was trashed. So I would assume that you're referring to the welcome to Martinsville sign that was up near Morgan Street that included the shields for the different organizations. So as part of this design process, we've coordinated with the community, and there are going to be 2 new monuments that are built as part of contract 2. There will be one that will be located on the west side of I-69, just north of State Road 44 and Rubin Drive. And then the other one, so that one will be for folks traveling on I-69 southbound. And then those traveling northbound, the other monument will be located at the State Road 39 exit in the infield between the main line and the ramps. So there's essentially just a kind of a change of what those gateway monuments are for the community. And that was done part of our environmental document committed to looking at gateways and other elements for the community, certainly the MSE walls and the red M's on Grand Valley Boulevard. But since the gateways were a portion of that, we did have there was a designated aesthetics community that helped provide the feedback on those different features. There's an additional question, will there be any additional temporary stoplights added to Morgan Street? I do not believe so. I believe what is out there is what will be out there. And then we mentioned the restriping earlier to help with the through movements, and certainly the signal timing improvement. I do believe that there are some additional items that as we leave Martinsville, we'll kind of help put some finishing touches on related to signal timing. But kind of, I guess, to concisely answer that, what's out there is what will be out there. I think, Jamie, have we hit all the ones that have come through, or did we skip any?
And as Jamie's typing I don't need to be on camera. As Jamie is texting those, I would like to just say that once the closure occurs, who's out there monitoring the flow, monitoring how the driver reactions are. And so the question about the stoplights, that INDOT does a very good job of, once those change conditions are out there, they'll monitor it, and if there's ways where we can improve it, we'll implement those. So it'll probably occur once that closure occurs, and then they'll have staff, construction staff, district staff evaluating just the movement of traffic.
So I think it looks like there's a follow-up question related to the Martinsville sign and whether or not that sign got trashed. I can reach out to our construction team and our tree clearing team to find out what has happened to that sign in the event that there are local organizations like Rotary or Kiwanis or whomever that would want their their shields that were on there. I can certainly, once I have that information, I'll circle back to Jamie with it. I can't make any guarantees on what may or may not have happened to the specific sign.
Sarah, we do have another question.
Okay.
Lance is asking, has a date been determined when the closure of Indiana 37 will begin?
The earliest date that it could happen is January 2nd of 2021. So that's the soonest that it will happen. We will have, as we get closer to that, we'll be able to provide a bit more certainty on the exact date. Obviously, making sure that everything is ready related to State Road 39 is incredibly important, and also the improvements that are underway on State Road 67.
Excellent. That's all the questions we have right now, but we will certainly pass along any more that show up in the comments later as folks watch this, so we can get those answered.
Okay.
Darcy?
That sounds great.
I'm here. Well, thank you so much, Tim and Sarah. We appreciate all the information. Everybody remember, just follow the I-69 finish line on Facebook. And if you want updates, subscribe to email or text updates on i69finishline.com, and continue any questions, and she'll, oh my goodness, Tim or Sarah will get back with you via Jamie or myself even. We appreciate everybody joining us, and share this, get the word out there. Things are closing down no sooner than January 2nd of 2021. And any updates will be posted on the Martinsville Chamber page, martinsvillechamber.com. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Tim and Sarah.